There's the buck. He's working that doe. It's a good sign. The rut's coming on. Here he comes.
Ron Spomer is in the untamed wilds of Saskatchewan, Canada, where the world's biggest whitetails roam.
What lives in a place like this? Whitetails. Whitetails up here get huge. 300-pounders are pretty common.
That's a bigger buck. Haven't seen anything better than that. Come out of there. Tree. Here he comes.
Winchester's World of Whitetail.
There's a buck. It's like just a little one. There might be a bigger one with him. Clear that brush. Need a couple more years on you, boy.
Welcome to the boreal forest. A boreal forest is characterized by a mix of fir, spruce, pine, and some aspen and lots of alder underneath. It's a far north forest. Think of northern Canada and Siberia. It actually runs in a belt all the way around the planet from about 50 degrees north to 60 degrees north. So that's roughly 600 miles wide. What lives in a place like this? Whitetails. Whitetails up here get huge. 300-pounders are pretty common. This is the largest subspecies of whitetails known that's called borealis. It's no surprise that the world record has come out of Saskatchewan. And it'll be interesting to see what happens because folks up here hunt from stands and they hunt over bait. And hunting out of stands is not my thing. I just really am too antsy to sit for very long, but I think I'm gonna have to. But will be interesting to see what's all up here. It's the North Country, and it's an adventure, and it's Winchester's World of Whitetail.
Ron's hunting in majestic Green Lake, Saskatchewan, the same Canadian province that produced Milo Hansen's 213-inch world record typical buck nearly 20 years ago. The boreal forest Ron's hunting in is the world's largest terrestrial biome, and it's home to Brian and Sylvia Huffart and their legendary Bait Masters hunting camp.
We run about 60 whitetail hunts a year in our peak, and I would say that at least once a week somebody is shooting a Boone and Crockett. First off, we got the genetics that goes with this, and Saskatchewan whitetail, 250 to 300 pound deer is really common. And then the antler growth again, 150 to 200 inch deer is as you know, the Hansen buck came from Saskatchewan, and so hunting the big bush, we've never really had a lot of pressure on the animals and a lot of mature animals, and that's sort of a really good combination to equate to big, large whitetail deer, both in body size and in horn growth.
What's your deer density up here, like 5 per square mile?
No, they done a thing here in our area here, and we got 9.8 deer per square mile, so pretty strong.
Yeah, for up here, but I mean, there's places in the States where there's 100.
Yeah, but then they got no deer. I mean, they got no big bucks.
Still, you've got to find some way to concentrate those deer. You can't go wandering around a square mile for 9 deer.
Look how crunchy it is here. Did you start?
Oh, yeah.
You start walking through that. They're long gone, but you congregate these things, and it draws in those big bucks.
There's not a real high density of deer, so yeah, you can still hunt. You can still hunt deer any place, but when the density is so low that your chances of coming across a buck are slim, there's a lot of walking and looking in the woods all day without much reward. So, there's a reason that people up in the North Woods and down in Texas in the thick brush country run baits and sit stands and watch trails. It's because they've got to scout and just sort of condense things into your best opportunity.
A little pre-hunt scouting is always a good idea. So Ron and Brian head out for a quick look around in search of fresh sign and some late afternoon deer movement.
We've come to the glory land. This is the spot, deep into the boreal forest wilderness, far, far from the signs of man. Putting up a stand. We like to get our stands in early so the deer get used to them.
I knew I was probably going to be hunting over bait with a company called Bait Masters. No big surprise. But when you really think about it, we hunt over bait, whether it's a great big natural agricultural field that we key on, or say a 5-acre turnip patch that we plant to draw deer in. Aren't we hunting over bait? So whether it's growing in the ground or you bring it in and spill it on the ground, you're hunting over bait. Is it ethical? You have to make the decision. Each of us does that. That's the great thing about hunting. It's between us and Mother Nature and the animals. We decide what's right or wrong for us, and then we do it or don't do it. Make up your decision, but don't kid yourself. Just because you're not hunting over a hay bale or a pile of grain that's dumped, but you're hunting over a field that you planted to a special crop for deer, hunting over bait.
Oh, here's some doe. 2, 3, 4. Does. Good sign. Big guy. Come on in, please. Breakfast is served. Does. Doe. 7 does out. That's a good sign. Oh, here's a trail.
Coming up, Ron can't resist the temptation to try a little still hunting, as usual.
Oh, here's a buck. He's working that doe. It's a good sign. The rut's coming on. Coming across that orange tree again. And once he gets past that, we've got him.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Bushnell, the new laws of performance. And by Mossberg, field-proven performance. Although he's seen plenty of deer from the stand, Ron's restless spirit has him on the ground, prowling around for the huge boreal whitetails Saskatchewan is so famous for.
Oh, here's a trail. Yeah, this is, oh, there's some droppings right here. Good, 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 good. Yeah, that's pretty fresh. Gotta check this out. See where it goes. I might find a bedding grounds or a junction of a couple of trails would be good.
I prefer to move and stalk and glass and cover country and find my game. So I tried a little still hunting, had a little bit of success.
Oh, look at here. There's a shed. Funky little 3-point shed, broken brow tine, moss growing on it. Huh. He broke it a little bit. He wasn't quite ready to shed it. A little piece was still hanging on his broken bone right there. Probably bumped it against a tree or something. Or maybe he was still sparring, but that's an odd one, 3-pointer. That's a good one to get out of the gene pool. I don't think I'll carry around. We'll leave it for the rodents to chew. Two does. That's good. Oh, here's a buck. Good mass. That's looking good. Nice high tines, but that's a young deer yet.
Offhand shooting, that means shooting standing up without a rest, like this, is discouraged for good reason. It's our least stable position. But when you're hunting in thick woods like this, it's often the only shot you get. It keeps you above the brush, and if a deer jumps up quickly inside close range, you don't have time to set up, lean against a tree, or put up shooting sticks or anything. You just boom, shoot. So it pays to practice shooting offhand. Try to always use a rest, but if you have to shoot quickly, get into that sling and bang, get your deer. Carry your scope, set it on a low setting. 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, rarely more than that. If a deer is far away, you've got plenty of time usually to turn up the magnification on your scope. But when he jumps right in front of you, you don't want to see him at 10x. So carry that scope at 4x or so and be ready to take an offhand shot by practicing during the summer out in the field on quick target. Bang, give yourself about 3 seconds to get on target and shoot it. Build up your confidence, and then when the big buck shows up for a quick second in that open woodland, pow, you've got him.
Coming across that orange tree again. Once he gets past that, we've got him. He's working that doe. It's a good sign. The rut's coming on. Here he comes. Now don't shoot through all this brush and never get a bullet through there. Be darn lucky to get anything through that. You just wait him out, see where that doe just came through. If he follows that path, the wind stays in my favor. That could work. Here he comes. This will be great. Too bad he wasn't the big one. That was sweet.
By having a bait station out, you, of course, are going to concentrate the deer. Your chances of seeing a number of deer, I think, goes up quite a bit in this kind of an environment. It's a long season and there are long days, but when you come up from the States for a 5 or 6 day hunt, you just don't have a lot of time to snoop around and find things for yourself. So you need a good guy, somebody who knows the country, and if they're setting stands up, there's probably a reason for it, and you're probably going to have to sit those stands.
Ooh, that was exciting. I'm glad I got out of that stand to try a little still hunting. I didn't see the big buck, but I saw some deer, and that's always exciting. Warms you up, but just easing through the woods like this when that rut is starting up and the deer are moving. They're just little bucks chasing right now, but that one little guy back and forth through here working those does, that is just the ultimate fun. And you've got to pick your spots. It's just exciting from start to finish. It's all close range. It's really tight because of all the brush. When one pops into an opening, you've got to be ready to shoot, and you shoot instantly. Seeing him come through there, following those does, man, that's deer hunting. That's what November is all about. Uh-oh. I don't think they like each other.
With the rut heating up by the minute, the action and the buck sightings are too.
They're big-bodied deer up here, and they got a lot of nutrition at these feed sites, so they can grow some pretty good antlers at too.
That's a bigger buck. I haven't seen anything better than that. Come out of there.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Mossberg, field-proven performance. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Shop at one of over 30 locations or online at sportsmanswarehouse.com. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession.
Ram Outdoorsman is one heck of a truck. We want trucks for hunting because we need trucks for hunting. We're not just driving to the supermarket. When we pick up our meat, we've got to go places. And when you're hunting Rocky Mountain country like I live in, you need a truck with power. The Hemi engine in this Dodge Ram gets me up those mountains. I was really impressed. Goes wherever it needs to go with plenty of power. Through rocky streams, over big rocks and boulders, through the mud. I just didn't worry about it, and the truck pulled through every time.
Recognizing the need to hunt from up high and over bait in this vast and lightly populated place, Ron heads back into the tree stand to see what's stopping by for a snack.
Now the smaller bucks are starting to sniff the does and just beginning a little rutting activity. Had the low neck stretch going. Always the little ones who go first. Youngsters don't quite know the game yet. Uh-oh. I don't think they like each other. Oh, they're just doing some sparring, but that's cool.
Now, we weren't hunting the peak of the rut. In fact, the rut was just getting underway. We still had bucks getting along with one another, feeding together, but they started sparring. A couple of 5-pointers especially. They looked like 3-year-olds to me. Brian thought they were probably only 2-year-olds because they're big-bodied deer up here, and they got a lot of nutrition at these feed sites, so they can grow some pretty good antlers at too.
Hard to believe that buck that size was a fawn last year. We have such huge bodies up here. The northern deer, the borealis subspecies, gets the biggest. The reason that the farthest north deer are the largest bodied subspecies is because they need body mass to withstand the cold.
The world's record whitetail had 8 points on one side, 6 points on the other, and 27 and almost 1/2 inches of inside spread. That's huge. The main beams are over 28 inches long, and it was taken by Milo Hansen in 1993, right here in Saskatchewan, Canada. Can we top that on this hunt? Well, that's a long shot. A lot of hunters have hunted a lot of places for a lot of years since 1993 without beating that record. But if it's going to happen somewhere, it could happen in Saskatchewan and right here on Winchester's World of Whitetail.
Oh, a mink. Mink? Oh, no, it's a fisher. Yeah, that's a fisher. I've never seen one in the wild before. Neat. Look at that humpback thing. It looks just like an overgrown mink. I'll be darned. That's pretty cool. Finally get to see a fisher.
I was surprised. It was not as boring as I thought it was going to be. There's always the anticipation of that big buck showing up, but then there are other things going on in the woods. And if you're at all interested in nature and studying it and understanding what goes on, you pay attention and you start to notice subtle things you normally wouldn't, and you start to learn things.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's a bigger buck. Oh, he's chasing does. That's probably my buck. I haven't seen anything better than that. Come out of there. Here he comes. Nope, there he goes again. Doggone.
Here in the North Woods or any place where you've got a lot of thick brush and there's no snow on the ground, it probably makes some sense to try to anchor that deer, break him down.
He looks pretty good. Come on out. Right there.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram, Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide, Bushnell, the new laws of performance, and by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Ron Spomer's up in a tree stand in Saskatchewan's famous boreal forest, where, so far, he's seen lots of young deer, but no shooters. But his luck may have just changed for the better.
That's a good buck. Might be not big. Okay, buddy. Come on out of there. Whoa. Chasing does. Looks pretty good. Whoa. Let's slow down there, big guy. Stop that tree at the top. Here he comes. Here he comes. Nope. There he goes again. Doggone. Giving those does fits. He's getting ready. There he's back in the timber. Come on out. Bad boy. Stop. Right there. All right. Down right there. Last day heroics, I can't believe it. Thought I was going to go home empty-handed. Sure this guy is empty. Ah, he's lying right there.
Hey, where do you like to shoot your deer? Behind the shoulder? On the shoulder? Here in the North Woods or any place where you've got a lot of thick brush and there's no snow on the ground, it probably makes some sense to try to anchor that deer, break him down. I went for a shoulder shot. I don't normally, I usually go for the heart lungs right behind the shoulder to maximize my meat. But I don't want to risk a deer running off in the woods. So put it right on the shoulder. You're going to break some bones and that deer's not going to be able to run away. You'll find him in that thick brush. Mine only went about 20 yards. That Winchester Power Max bonded bullet really does the job.
Here he was standing. Bam. Broke that shoulder, so he isn't going anywhere, and he ran back in here. So even without a tracking snow, we should be able to find this guy. He's right here.
Whoa, he didn't go far at all. That last time I saw him, he fell over. I thought he disappeared behind the tree. He just fell over in mid-stride right here. Holy mackerel. Nice, heavy, dark antlers buck. Woo-hoo. Good, heavy. Not that 180 buck you like to find up in these forests, but I tell you, anytime you're deer hunting and you get a good full-age mature buck like this, he's probably 4 or 5. Look at the belly on that guy. I mean, holy mackerel. They are big, big animals. And look at the neck. Not even in full rut yet. Look at the mass on this guy. Hey, Milo Hansen, rest easy. Your record still stands. We didn't beat the world record whitetail up here in our Saskatchewan boreal forest hunt, but we had a heck of a great time. We discovered some new things about whitetails, and we took a great buck. You know, there are 2,000 miles between here and South Texas brush country. I've taken whitetails at both places, and it represents the widest span between those populations. Over 2,000 miles, and it's all whitetail habitat right here on Winchester's wonderful world of whitetail.